Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fortress of Comic News, episode 277. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my awesome co-host, Mike. What's up, Mike?
Yo, did you hear that? You called me awesome, everybody. You're awesome too, Chris.
True.
And we have a third awesome person on the show today. We're doing it in the start of the show. We're going to announce the interview, like we should be doing, but we always forget. Evan Posios will be on here. So his project's up on Zoop right now. Zoop's that new comic funding website. So got a little insight into that. And his new book, Blood Run, looks really cool. So look forward to that. And I'm looking forward to all the...
Also, this week, everybody, there's going to be a second interview.
Oh, second. What?
That's second awesome. Interview. I talked to the guys over at Steer Nova, so look forward to that. They got a cool book about cats in space.
Dude.
Everybody knows I like cats in space.
That's awesome. That's a book I didn't know I needed in my life. I can't wait to hear that. A lot of shows coming out, man. I still haven't finished Paper Girls yet. I downloaded some of Sandman because I'm traveling this week for work, so I'm hopefully going to watch it. Did you finish it?
Oh, yeah, I finished it.
All right, so what is it, 10 episodes? Oh, what is your rating out of 10? Give us the straightaway out of 10.
9 out of 10? 10 really? Out of 10? Yeah.
What? That good? Wow.
So I'm far from a Sandman expert. I've read volume 1 and I'm like reading through. So I read volume 1 a long time ago, and now I've got like the big like 20 issue volumes of it. So I'm reading through that. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but from what I know, like things are pretty 1-to-1.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty faithful adaptation, and I was impressed by that. I was also impressed by like the special effects are great. The story, it's Sandman, so the story is phenomenal, and even the changes they did make like fit. I'll admit, like it didn't bug me. It's kind of weird that we didn't get John Constantine and we got like, I forget her name now, but it's a female Constantine. But it didn't take anything away from it. It was just, it kind of took me out for a second as someone was like, why isn't that John?
Right.
But you get over like that. And just all the worlds they create, the dreaming is like, the world they create there in CG is just so awesome. The acting's phenomenal. Like, I think it's super special, and it better not fall victim to Netflix's season and done.
Yeah, man, come on.
Because it'd be a damn shame.
And I guess, do we get the Corinthian at all in this season?
Yes.
Ooh, nice.
I'll leave it at that. So what's cool is like each episode feels like an issue of the comic. Oh, so like the first issue feels like first episode feels like the first issue.
Okay.
So at a certain point I got beyond my reading because I haven't read that far into it, but I like the first volume is pretty intact in this season. So like I said, I was impressed with everything that they did in there, and even down to, if you've read the book, this isn't a spoiler, but like even down to when they go to hell and they do that whole sequence, it's just so well done. Yeah, everybody should go check it out. It's one of those shows that should be watched by everybody.
Yeah, awesome, dude. Yeah, and I'll probably have it finished by next week, so we can talk about it a little more. All right, so there's a lot of shit going down this week with DC and Discovery and new leadership. The guy who's he actually has a pretty good track record. The new guy that came to DC as I don't know, he's an executive or some shit like that. They're making changes across the board for DC movies and TV. The recently announced Gotham Knights show for CW is no longer going to premiere, and the show itself is dead. Is one of the news stories we got.
That show from day one looked kind of wonky.
Yeah, I didn't have any faith in that one, to be honest.
Yeah, like that one, I don't think anyone's... I mean, there's going to be people who are sad about everything, but I don't think anyone's going to be all that sad about that one disappearing.
Yeah. Also being canceled is The Flash on CW. So I got a text from, Pat's Flash Facts about this, because he's going to be out of business with the end of the season. So he did ask and request to be on the show for the finale of the entire show, and I can't think of anyone else to have on to talk about it besides him, because I think he's the only one that's seen it all. So I think it's the least.
I saw it all. It ended at Infinite Crisis, or Crisis on Infinite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Flash's season 9 is getting 13 episodes, fall 2020, and airing starting production fall 2020, airing early 2023. So hey, it might be an awesome season if it's a short season. I mean, I feel like that was always CW's crutch, was going 24 episodes in a season.
Yeah, way too much filler. This was the one thing in all this that, like, if they just abruptly canceled, I was like, you can't do that to Flash. Like, out of everything, as much as we make fun of Flash, as much as we pick on it, like, that show for a while was a tent pole for all of DC. It was like the pinnacle of what DC should be.
Right.
And it deserves to end on its own merits. Who knows? Maybe without this merger, it could have gone on for more seasons. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's up to you. But at least it gets a full season worth of episodes to kind of wrap everything up, give itself a conclusion, and we can move forward with our lives in a post-Flash world.
Yeah. So more news from DC regarding movies. So alongside the TV announcements comes movies that have been that has shocked the internet. First, the movie's back. The movie, and I was texting Chris about this. A lot of people. Batgirl, featuring Michael Keaton Batman, will no longer be anywhere. It's been axed. It recently wrapped up production from a $90 million budget, and the news coming from test screenings seemed to have led to that discussion. So I guess it was just not a great movie. And maybe it's just more of a tax write-off for them than trying to do anything with the movie. So...
I sent you that article. I've read stuff about tax write-offs. I've read stuff about this and that. I think at the end of the day, if the movie's as bad as they say it is, and I know you made the joke to me about, like, or maybe it was a Twitter post you made about Morbius. Like, we can release Morbius.
We got a Morbius movie, but not this. Yeah, that's what I said.
And my kind of response to that is like, yeah, then the Morbius franchise is dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody wants a Morbius 2. And I think that's what it does here, is if it's really as bad as they say it is, especially with the news we're going to come to later, it seems better to kind of axe it and move on and let it live in this kind of world alongside the Corbin's Fantastic Four and the Star Wars Holiday Special, where one day we're going to go to a con and there will be a DVD of it and we'll be able to watch it. And then we're like, oh yeah, that was as bad as they said, or whatever,
Right.
As far as like the franchise, the word that everybody hates, if it is as bad as they say, then it's probably a good decision, even to eat the 90 million. Because to be honest, like when I heard the budget was 90 million, my first thought was, that's it.
Yeah,
like I know it's a lot of money, but in your movie world, that's nothing.
That is nothing. They probably paid 80 million to Michael Keaton. Like, what the hell?
And that's the saddest part of this, is that there's now a lost Michael Keaton Batman movie.
Yeah, and I had heard that he really didn't even have that much screen time in the movie, so he might even have more in the Flash movie. And who knows, they might, what comes out of this, if they're going to go forward with Batfleck, or if they're going to go forward with Keaton, or if they're just going to go with Battinson. I mean, who the hell knows now, but...
Well, this also might make sense a little bit to why they chose to do Batfleck and Aquaman as opposed to Keaton.
Right.
This added a little bit of context to that for me personally. Like, if this is bad, blah, 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 then maybe moving away from the Keaton thing and making that a one and done thing is probably a good thing. Although I'm still going to say it.
Yeah,
Batman Beyond with Keaton
would be sick. Or they could do it with Affleck. I mean, he's getting up to his 50s now, right? Late 40s.
Yeah, because it's weird. It goes against to do a Batman Beyond movie or a live action show would go against kind of what I've said in the past and what we're going to talk about later. But
yeah,
that's always going to be my exception. Like, you can do it without it tying into the greater universe,
right? And I will say, like, Ben Affleck is a lot healthier now. I know, like, coming out of Batman, he was in rehab, like, in between Batman and Justice League, and like in a terrible place. But now that picture he had with Jason Momoa, he looked great. Like, he's doing good. He might have even said DC, like, dude, I'll come back. Like, if you guys want me, like, I'll be back. So, yeah, who the hell knows? But anyways, so, there are some things that weren't taken off the slate, but the rumored Supergirl movie spitting out of the Flash movie, because Supergirl is in the Flash, is said to be scrapped before even entering production, so they probably save money on that one. Movies
which
that have
probably leads into later news about what their plans are.
Yeah,
they probably don't even want to bother with it.
Yeah, movies that seem to survive all of it are Flash, which the test screenings I keep hearing are great, and I've read some of the plots, so I usually spoil that stuff for myself, and it seems fairly good. So fingers crossed. Black Adam still happening, Shazam 2 still happening, Blue Beetle still happening, which I think is still filming in Puerto Rico, and Aquaman 2. So there's still things. And then to wrap up all the WB news is that the new heads of WB want to reboot the DC movie universe and form a group that would create a 10-year plan for the DC cinematic universe. And kind of like what MCU has done with Kevin Feige, has not been confirmed by WB or leadership yet, but it could be happening between all the cancellations and all the all the shit they're upturning. So, and James Gunn has come out and said this doesn't affect any of the shit he's working on. So thank God, let that guy do whatever he wants.
So, as far as the James Gunn stuff is concerned, I don't believe you. I'm talking to James Gunn right now. I hope not, because I like Peacemaker.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't shock me if this is the last of the James Gunn Peacemaker Suicide Squad stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to do a 10-year plan, you got to get rid of it. You got to get rid of the good and the bad. You got to move on. Yeah. As much as we will lose some good out of this, I think we gain more. I'm also interested, like, that makes Blue Beetle kind of the last big movie, presumably.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks that Blue Beetle gets, like, kind of shot down like that. Like, he deserves more.
Yeah, we finally get a Blue Beetle, and then what?
I almost was I put out there on Twitter, like, asking what people thought the first DCEU movie of this new generation should be. And I put my thoughts out of Martian Manhunter, because I say you stick with the course Justice League that was in the beginning, but you could, like, redo Blue Beetle and make him kind of the Iron Man of that universe, and him kind of start it all off. And
yeah, the Spider-Man,
that's
Iron
probably
Man.
not gonna happen.
But I don't know, this whole 10-year plan thing. You can't just, like, force fans and viewers to, like, you can't just put you can't just have all these movies come out and then put a wall and be like, okay, we're done. We're moving on, and just get everybody to buy in so easily. So they're going to have to figure out a way to do this. Like, I almost feel like it's too little too late for them to say, hey, we're doing a plan. It's like, okay, it's going to be a shit show.
Here's what it is, though. Everybody will say that. Everybody will be like, oh, I'm not buying in, blah, 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 blah. Unless it's good.
Yeah, right. It has to be good.
If that first movie is of Iron Man level, like, it's a banger and people love it, they'll be in. And the thing is I talk about this all the time. You have to earn the string that Marvel has gained. So you can't do your first movie and have it be a banger and the second one suck. Like, you have to build up a bunch of goodwill over a bunch of movies, and figure out that plan. But like I said, you're also going to piss people off along the way, because there's people who love that Batman movie, and is that Batman movie the beginning of this, or are we going to do a new Batman again?
Right. Exactly.
You know, that Black Adam movie looks awesome.
Yeah.
Or are we going to scrap Black Adam and Shazam and move on with, like, they got to just come out and say, like, this is what we're doing.
Right.
This is the plan, and whatever is left behind, be like, we're sorry. We know you guys love this, but this is what we have to do moving forward in order to create this new cinematic universe that we want. Yeah, I cheer for it. I hope that they are successful in it.
Yeah, I guess we'll see probably more news. Maybe we'll get a DC fandom this year. Who knows? Probably not now. But we did get some cool news this week as far as movies go. We know that Seth Rogen's. We know more about Seth Rogen's planned Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, and it'll premiere August 4th, 2023. And the title that they released with it looks fucking sick. It's I love the art, so I'm pretty hyped for this movie.
It looks like straight up like 90s street.
Yeah.
Like kind of logo, like almost a skateboard punk logo. I love it. Yeah, I'm always there for more turtle stuff.
And coming to the theaters, so that's a pretty big deal too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be live action.
Oh, really? I thought it was.
Well, there is a cartoon movie coming on Netflix right now, so I know people are like back and forth. But I'm pretty sure this one's supposed to be live action.
All right, I thought it was animated. Either way, I'd probably see it in the theater. So, yeah,
I'll be there either way.
Yeah, Chris almost blew a gasket this week because we got our potential. There was a leak on the internet. We got our potential maybe first look at MODOK, because we know he's going to be the villain in Ant-Man 3, and. So everything looks fine on MODOK until you get to the head part. They have him in like this wonky like helmet that almost like an Iron Man face mask thing. So who knows if it's like if they'll ever reveal his face or if he's going to be just a robot, because it looks like he has robot hands. But I know you were just like, please God, no.
Yeah, that's my thing. I've been using this meme because it just fits everything perfectly with that Godfather quote. Like, look how they massacred my boy.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I hope to God this isn't the final. If it is, I hope to God that it's like, this is him, and then he takes the mask off, and he's,
right.
MODOK isn't a robot per se. He's more of a cyborg. If you wanted to do a robot, like, there's other robots you could have done. It's just, for me, this one hits home real personally, because this is like a character I've loved for a while, a character I've championed for a long time. And then to hear that he's coming, I was like so excited. And then like, this is what is presented. And this could be fake too. Like, I could be getting all worked up over nothing. So
yeah.
Hopefully MCU does me right, but we'll see. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, you'll. Hopefully it's fake. I hope.
I hope for all of our sakes.
Yeah, I don't want you to be disappointed. All right, everybody, we're gonna jump over to this interview with Evan Posios, and we'll see everyone on the other side.
And we're back.
We're back. Yeah, so head over to Zoop, check it out. I just want to know how that process goes for everybody, because Zoop is fairly new. I know I've already pre-ordered a couple books on there, so we'll see how that goes.
I haven't done anything on Zoop, and this one looks interesting, so I'm thinking I'm going to do this one.
Yeah.
A, because I like the book, but B, for science.
For science. I actually funded or backed the the Ukraine anthology because of the Alex Ross art on that hardcover. I mean, the cause as well, obviously, but that's where I first heard of Zoop. That was like one of the first things they dropped on there, and So, all right, let's jump into the comic news. DC has launched a new website along with the new URL, dc.com. The new site set to feature weekly video content, editorial deep dives, fan discussion, digital experiences, and link deeper with your DC Universe Infinite library, which I forgot was a thing. More layoffs abound. It seems that Valiant Entertainment has been hit with layoffs across the editorial staff. No word for the reasoning or these layoffs or what they mean for the publishing line as a whole. So that's pretty shitty to see.
There's been like rumbles through the industry that Dinesh is looking into buying them again.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which I know Dinesh loves Valiant, but dude, save your money.
Yeah.
It's a deadline. Like it needs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know I'm hated by the Valiant fan base, but
right.
It just let it die.
It's like cursed at this point.
Yeah, it's just it's done. It was bought by this big company to mine for IP that failed, and they just have had no success with their books.
Yeah,
and it's sad to see because there's some good like characters there. I still really like Exo Manowar, but
I feel like just their art styles and they're like they never got out of the 90s, and like they could keep those characters and stuff, but like do different stories with them, you know, like.
Well, the Nation crew came out with bangers. Like the original XO with Venditti is great stuff. Anyone out there, go check it out. If you have Comixology Unlimited, it's there. If you can go buy the books, check it out. I highly recommend it. But like, ever since he left, I've just seen it. I feel like the Valiant fan base has been treated like battered women. Like they're just trying to convince themselves that this is a good relationship, and it's just I don't know. I don't think it's anything worth looking at. I get the review copies still, and I flip through them, and I'm just like, this is just not up to par with what a top tier publisher should be. So
yeah, I think it's just the larger company is just out of touch.
And I think the larger company doesn't care about comics.
Yeah, they don't care about comics. They're completely out of the. They don't know what they're doing. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Everybody can give all the crap they want. I have my problems with Disney and Warner Brothers, but like they understand to let the comics people be comics people and to let them create the great story so that they can take from that for their movies and not try to force down the throats. You know, you need to make a line that makes money because we have to make money off this. That's not comics today. So
yeah, this is pretty cool news. Mark Millar's company, Miller World, has announced the next comic project with artist Jorge Jimenez. The project is a sequel to Mark Millar's previous comic Nemesis. Huge fan of Nemesis. So
never read Nemesis.
Oh, really? He's like an asshole Batman. More of an asshole than normal Batman.
Yeah, it's one of those I want to read, but I find it interesting that Jorge Jimenez is leaving Batman to go draw Batman.
Yeah, pretty. Well, this guy comes in white, so he doesn't have a black suit. He has a white suit. It's just a little different.
Oh, so he's copying Moon Knight, is what you're telling me?
Yeah, pretty much Moon Knight, but he uses guns. So I don't know if Moon Knight uses guns. Nemesis is one of my favorite Miller projects. He wrote that like there was a part in time where Miller, you could tell what he was writing. He just absolutely gave no fucks with some of his projects, and this came from that era of stuff. And that was one of the first books that really got me to be a fan of his. It is a little late to have. I mean, it's been a lot of years since the original Nemesis, so I wonder if they're going to re-release the first set or something. But I'm still excited for this either way.
Probably get a new trade.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if we're going to get an announcement about Nemesis in pre-production at Netflix or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You know, that's how that all works. So, but I'm glad that the fans are going to get it, and I'll check out. Eventually, I'll check out the original one.
Yeah. Frank Miller Presents has announced their first comic to be available in comic shops, and it comes sooner than you think. August 17th, the publisher will release a 32-page ashcan for $1 previews of Miller's own Ronin 2 and Dan Didio's new series Ancient Enemies alongside other previews. Yeah, an ashcan, for people that don't know, because I had to look that up recently. It's just a preview book. It's not a full comic. It's an ashcan, so flip through a little sampler. That's pretty cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, and they're sending it out to the shops for free, which is really cool. So it's pure profit for the shops. And I'll check it out. I mean, the original Ronin book is, I don't talk about it a lot, but it's a great book that I remember actually got the trade for like Christmas when I was a teenager.
That's awesome.
And I love that book. You know, it was one of those things where like I discovered Miller and I was like, I need everything Miller, and then I put it on my Christmas list.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see how he goes back to that world and if it still lives up to everything. And I'm interested to see Didio like doing his own thing too. So I'll probably pick this up and see what's going on.
And then sad news before we talk about what we read, we lost another great comic industry staple. Ron Zimmerman passed away at the age of 64 from cancer. Way too young. He worked on a lot of stuff, but many Marvel projects throughout his career. He probably best known for Spider-Man Get Kraven. He's a Hollywood icon who worked on Jet Li's The One and the Friday the 13th franchise. I'm a huge fan of the movie The One with Jet Li. Love that movie. So I know Kraven the Hunter is there's a huge fan base for that guy too, let alone Spider-Man. But sad to see him go. Way too young. So, condolences to his family.
Yeah, and I guess I'm going to cause some controversy right now and say fuck cancer.
Yeah. Well, that's oh man, who's the Green Arrow was a huge promoter of that. The Fuck Cancer company where you can buy like t-shirts and hats that say it.
Oh, is that actual company?
Yeah.
That doesn't shock me too much, but
yeah, Steve Amell was a big like promoter of that company. So, all right, let's talk about what we read this week. I know you had quite a few books.
Yes.
So, where do you want to? I had 5 books.
Well, here I'll start because I know some of these you read, so I'll leave the ones I'm pretty sure you read at the back.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'll start a few from last week that I just want to touch on. I checked out that Wild Cards, the drawing of the cards, #1, the George Railroad Martin comic. I don't understand why we need this. It takes place after World War II. There's an alien race and they're doing something and involves superheroes, and I just didn't find it interesting personally.
Okay.
And then Batman One Dark Knight #3 came out last week. I read that, and it was a fitting conclusion to that book. I really enjoyed it. I liked how they wrapped everything up. That was a good 3-issue series for a Batman fan. Simple kind of one night, one mission.
Yeah.
Involves a lot of the different characters. Really cool story. And then into this week, I got Survival Street #1. I checked that out. Now, when I get new books or when I find new books, I usually don't read like the solicitation text too heavy. I usually check out a few pages, see what the kind of elevator pitch is, and then give it a shot because I don't want to ruin it for myself.
Yeah.
And this one was kind of pitched as a post-apocalyptic Sesame Street.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not really that. It's like puppets are actually a part of our community. And then it goes into a kind of an alternate future where like corporations now run the government and they become second-class citizens. What? And now they're basically freedom fighters, terrorists, however you want to look at it. And they're fighting against it. It just didn't hit what I wanted it to hit. It's really well drawn. It's really well written. Maybe in a different headspace, I would enjoy it. But I won't continue it just because I was hoping for something more like fun and dark if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Not
And I
too,
wasn't
not so
looking for that.
serious.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for that super political, like
Yeah.
out of the bag thing. So I don't know. It's getting great reviews, so people are loving it. The All Nighter number 8. We get the All Nighter has his mission. We find out that the other superhero team is led by this other vampire who is fighting with Dracula, and he's now the head of the vampires, but he's got Dracula like locked away, and he's got some big plan to use the superhero phenomenon to create an army to then take over the real world.
Mm.
Another great issue. I really like that book. Little Monsters number 6, another great issue. It's tough to not spoil this book, but we get another kind of prequel with one of the characters, how she came to be in the town, in the city, and when she became vampire. And then there's kind of a clash between the two different groups that have emerged inside the one group, where one really wants to go hunt for humans and eat their or drink their blood and all that, where the other just wants to keep living and doing what they're told to do. And it comes to a head in this issue. I think the rest of my digital you read, so I'll go into Chip Zdarsky's Public Domain number 2. This one kind of gets into the how much of a pain in the ass the legal battle is going to be to get back the rights to the character of the domain, and how much it kind of means for the one son to win this battle for his father.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really good kind of like touching story. I mean, especially if you are into the older comic creators and what they went through. Captain America: Symbol of Truth number 3. This is the Sam book. The best part of this issue is we get rid of Deadpool in like 2 pages, and he's no longer a part of the story.
Nice.
And then Sam leaves Latveria with kind of knowledge of what's going on and is going to move on to what's next. There's also kind of a back and forth between him and Wakanda as to the new immigration laws to let people in, and how he thinks it's kind of hurting the cause that he's going for. Pretty good issue. Moon Knight number 14. This is the first issue where we actually get the 3 personalities back. So the other 2 personalities have contacted Mark and are basically telling him that he's fucking up. Like, they made a deal with him to kind of let him run the ship and to try to rehab their image, but they feel like he's not doing right. And by the end of the issue, we find out that they come to the conclusion that they need to work together in order to be the perfect Moon Knight. And now everything else I feel like you've possibly read, so I'm going to jump through them.
Okay.
The new Champion of Shazam number 1.
Yeah, Josie Campbell, Doc Shaner. Awesome.
Go ahead.
I mean, Doc Shaner doing the art of the book, hell yeah, that sold me in itself. This is the Mary Marvel Shazam book that everybody was like, oh, I can't have Mary Marvel be Shazam. Shut the hell up. Everybody knows, if you know the movie, you'll know this book because Mary is going to go off to college. She tries to have a normal life and be in college, and this enchanted rabbit shows up. That was pretty cool. Billy sends this rabbit that's been like magically enchanted to relay the message that he needs her to take up the mantle. And then she finds out her foster parents have gone missing. So, I'm guessing hijinks ensue after that. But I think it was a solid first issue.
I still stand by. I wish I got more Billy, but this was still really good.
Yeah.
Lighthearted, fun.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I wish we didn't have to go through the whole "I don't want to be Shazam" bit. Like, just get, like, move past. Like, I'm kind of over that whole like I don't want to do this. Especially since I read it in another book.
The only problem is, like, I mean, it's the same thing with like JSA. They keep like, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but we keep getting teased with like we'll get a Billy story like here and there, but like we had never had an ongoing, or at least for a while, of Shazam. So like if we had an ongoing of Billy and then we did a Mary Marvel story like this, that would have been fine. Either way, I'm gonna read it. And that goes without saying, Doc Shaner's art is absolutely fantastic. So
yeah. Like I said, I still enjoyed it. It's one of those characters where I'm like, I want more Billy, and we don't get any Billy. That was my only complaint about that.
Yeah, we don't get any Billy. Yeah, for sure.
But I also didn't read the Teen Titans thing, so I don't know what happened there.
he
Apparently,
was
he's stuck in the
he's
Rock of
trapped
Eternity.
in hell, and the Rock of Eternity was in hell for a while. So they at least should have I feel like there should have been 1-page catch up or something for that. But
yeah. DC versus Vampires #8. Did you read that?
I have not read that, but I have it. I just haven't read it.
Okay, so basically, a bunch of the characters are forming new plans on how they're going to fight back against the vampires. So we get kind of Green Arrow's story, we get Batwoman's story, and then we get, who was the last one? Supergirl's story of how they're going to go on their separate paths. I'm assuming are eventually going to come together to win the day. It was a really good issue.
Cool.
Mech Strike Monster Hunters #2.
No, I haven't read it yet.
Okay, so we get more members of the team, and then we also get like the big fight in this one where like we find out that the villains that got the Kraken Eye have split up, and Loki ends up attacking New York City. So that's the first team that they fight. And I like the one addition was Groot and Rocket, which was a lot of fun. Nice. It was a pretty good issue altogether. It's just it's fun. Like that's all it is.
Yep.
The Dead Lucky #1. Did you pick this up?
No.
Okay, so I caught up on Radiant Black this week, and by the way, Radiant Black's really good.
Yeah.
This is another book spinning out of it, like a 5-issue series.
It is? Okay, I guess I missed that.
So I'm going to give this one complaint about Radiant Black as a whole. Radiant Red's pretty obvious. That's part of it.
Right.
Rogue Sun, if you didn't know, you didn't know. This, if you didn't know, you didn't know. There's nothing on here. Like, here's the cover. There's nothing on here that says Radiant Black.
Right.
Like, guys, put like in the corner or something, like in the world of Radiant Black or something.
Yeah.
But it was an okay issue. It's this woman who was a vet of some sort. I'm assuming Iraq or Afghanistan, based on the time period. She comes back to San Francisco, where kind of the tech companies have taken over, and it's become this kind of technological, almost like RoboCop kind of town, where these robots are working with the police, and she gains superpowers. There's a terrorist group in there and all this stuff. It was pretty good. Decent first issue. Not my favorite Radiant Black thing, but still pretty good. Okay. I'm going to be shocked if you haven't read any of the following. Batman Beyond New Year #5.
I haven't got to it yet. I haven't.
Oh, man. Great issue. Everything kind of comes together where Terry has his villain friend that's this weird like hentai-ish thing. Helping him out, and then the cop that he was working with as well come together, and they build kind of the new team Batman, along with a new suit at the end.
Sick.
Really great issue, just phenomenal, and it's the second to last issue. Batman White Knight presents Red Hood.
I haven't read it yet. I had so many DC books, and I only read 5.
I had so much Batman this week; it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
This gives us the Jason story in this universe. So he has a moment with Joker, but it's not the same as the moment we know. And it leads to where he is now. And then he's kind of just a bum on the streets, like beating up. So his justification is he beats up crooks who have stolen from people and steals their money. So thus he's not stealing from the store. He's stealing from the crook. That makes him a good guy. And then he runs into this woman that's trying to be Robin in her town, because Shriek is living in the town, or in the part of Gotham that she's in, and she wants to stop him, and they have to team up. Pretty fun issue, pretty decent issue. The art is not Sean Murphy, so it's kind of like, it's almost anime-ish.
Oh, okay.
But not quite anime, but still really good.
Almost anime.
Batman 126?
Yep. Read that.
Go ahead with that.
Batman fights the Failsafe, which is the robot Batman android thing that's come out of the the Batcave. He fights him with the Bat family. They all lose. Batman goes to the cave, and this fucking issue, man. So Batman is like, I know who it is. I know what it is. I don't remember building this thing. And he goes in. He's like rummaging for another costume. And he comes out with the purple costume, and it's Zur-En-Arrh. So Zur-En-Arrh was created. Oh man, back in the day, Zur-En-Arrh was like another planet Batman, and then Grant Morrison had rebooted it the origin within the last, I don't know, 5 years, to say that Zur-En-Arrh was like a place that Batman created in his mind to go to. So like,
So the Grant Morrison run was like 15, 16 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
Feel old. Yeah, because I was just getting out of high school when that was happening.
Right, so yeah, he did the whole run where it was like Zur-En-Arrh was a thing, but it wasn't a Batman from another planet. It was like a segment of his mind that he branched off into as a failsafe. And I think that's what he's kind of realized. I think that's awesome. Zdarsky's got my attention now.
Yeah, and that's the famous Grant Morrison like story arc where Batmite shows up, and we learn that the fifth dimension is imagination.
Oh yeah, right.
That's where that comes from. So I love this issue. I love that reveal. And then I immediately, when I saw it, I was like, so they're going back to Morrison Batman, because we're doing Batman Inc.
Right.
This, like, everything's kind of Morrison-y. As like, I'm down for this. I love that Morrison.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of the shit that Morrison is doing, so I'm pretty pumped for that. The Catwoman story is okay. She's just dealing with the death of the Penguin and finding Penguin's heirs and family. It's an okay side story.
Yeah, one of the heirs is a dick. That's
yeah. I read Black Adam, Justice Society Files, Cyclone. Did you read that?
No.
So it's the only JSA I can get in the last 10 years. So this is a Scott Miller, written by Scott, drawn by Miller. It's a good intro to the character of Cyclone. Hawkman is rebuilding the JSA, and this is the movie universe. It takes place in the modern day, so the movie is in the modern age. Some interesting stuff going on, and then we get some more Black Adam origins where he's like, we get a glimpse of him back in the day, like cutting all the whips of the people that were whipping the slaves, and kind of rebelling against them. Then we also get a glimpse of the museum curator that's one of the main characters in the movie of Black Adam, and we see that Intergang is involved. So I think we're gonna get a live action Intergang in the Black Adam movie and how it all ties together. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, I think these JSA issues are fine for me just to get a taste of the characters.
Well, did you read Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths #3 this week?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one was interesting. And this is finally where we kind of see Dark Crisis and Flashpoint Beyond this week part ways, I would say. Because last couple issues, they've kind of like, oh, these are kind of merged together. Deathstroke teams up, his daughter finds him, and he's like, I need you to team up and do this with me. And then we see this infection, this like darkness infection that's taking over Deathstroke is kind of really got its hold on him. And he infects he like coughs all it's like COVID, evil, dark COVID. He coughs on all the villains and infects all of them. So now they're all going to be bad. And then we see the younger heroes are struggling, and Black Adam is kind of like, no, we need to start like killing people and interrogating them. Like, you guys won't kill the villains, and that's what you need to start doing. And the JSA shows up and is like, hey, why didn't you guys should have called us sooner, blah, blah, blah. And I'm reading this book like, well, here's the 8th time the JSA has been teased in the comics. Will we finally get them back? Who the fuck knows? Because we immediately leave that panel. We get the JSA, and then they're gone. And I want to say this, not in Dark Crisis. I think it's in Flashpoint Beyond. They talk about Starman, right? or is it in?
Yes.
Okay, because there's a story happening, and I don't remember if it's in Dark Crisis or Flashpoint, where they keep talking about Starman has disappeared. And if anybody knows, Starman's a big part of JSA, the Jeff Johns run. But the rest of Dark Crisis is the Green Lanterns have assembled all the Green Lanterns at OA, and they say, "Hey, some shit's going on with the Black Lantern battery, so let's go inside." And they go inside the battery that, Black Lantern's probably powered by darkness, and they find Pariah and everybody chilling there. And Green Lantern grabs, because like all of the Justice League have been killed, so you have like these, I don't know if they're mini planets or just mini orbs of the energy of all the heroes that were killed, and Green Lantern grabs it and he gets vaporized.
I thought those were the Worlds Without a Justice League books.
Oh, are those worlds?
That's what I thought. That's
Okay.
how I took it, at least. Because, well, here's the thing too. Just looking at solicitations, so this happened, and you'll get into what happens in the Green Lantern world when he's vaporized. But then next week, or this week, as you're listening to this, everybody, the Green Lantern World Without Justice League book comes out.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was thinking that was teasing that book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, it's kind of crazy. Yeah. What happens to him after he gets vaporized? I can't remember. Does anything else happen?
He goes to this other world where there's like all these different Green Lanterns, and it's like the John Stewart world, which is the Green Lantern that died with the Justice League.
Yeah.
Which I immediately like. It visually looks awesome, but
yeah, it looks really cool.
And then we find out that the Legion of Doom's back together, and they want to be a part of all this.
That's right.
Which was a great like final splash page.
Yeah, Black Adam goes to them, right? Is it Black Adam?
Let me pull it up. I don't remember who goes to them. If anybody,
I think Black Adam's
like, "Hey, we're back, everybody."
I think Black Adam's finally pissed off that they won't kill anybody. He's like, they won't listen.
Oh yeah, Black Adam goes to them. Yeah, he goes down. I thought I could push the young heroes to do what needed to be done. They are too concerned with hope. I believe it is time for doom.
They always do that. Doom! And they always like highlight it and fucking bold it. Yeah, so solid issue for sure.
I love that issue altogether. I had so many great little moments throughout it.
Yeah, just stop fucking teasing us with the JSA guys. Like, man,
I didn't think you were going to be so mad about that. I thought you were going to be all excited.
No, I was excited, but I'm like talking to other people about it, and I'm like, yeah, but like this has happened to us like 5 times in a row, right? Between like Doomsday Clock and I don't know, whatever the last event book was. Hopefully they're here to stay this time. I hope. I really hope. Flashpoint Beyond #4. So like I talked about some things about Starman. So there is some crossover between JSA, I believe, with Dark Crisis and Flashpoint. We find out
they do mention the Dark Crisis right in the beginning, or the Great Darkness is what they call it.
Oh, okay. We find out who I think the big bad is behind who brought the Flashpoint back. Thomas Wayne is doing like an autopsy on the Reverse Flash, and like finds out that it's related to his Wayne Manor, and the son of Two-Face that he's like keeps in his house runs away and dresses as a Robin and like breaks into Arkham Asylum to see his mom. And as they're talking, someone like has a trap door that goes into the Two-Face's room, and it is Martha Wayne Joker. So it seems, and while this is happening, like the Time Lord that's talking to Batman is like, yeah, there's this person that's behind all this, blah blah blah. And then the reveal at the end is the Martha Wayne Joker. So I'm guessing that means she's the one that's screwed everything up.
Well, she's definitely the clock killer, is what I think.
She's definitely the clock killer. We still don't know what's happening on Batman's world.
Yeah, I'm still like super confused by it, but apparently that snow globe that they've been showing for every issue is full of temporal energy, which is how Hyper Time is going to connect to all this.
Yeah.
And it does connect back to Martha because he does say, you see, I warned you, Batman. I really did. I don't know everything about everything this time. You don't know the truth about your mom. So she's connected somehow to all of it. Yeah, you're right there. But it's
so we'll see.
I thought it was a really good issue.
Not a bad issue. Yeah, it was pretty cool shit going on.
I actually think both of DC's like big event books are two of the better books out right now.
Yeah,
like,
they're
I'm
pretty
really
good.
enjoying them.
They just need to finish strong.
They need to finish strong, and there needs to be. You're right. I mean, they've been talking about this JSA book, like one that might be coming out by Jeff Johns again,
right,
and all this shit. Like at this point, I still stand by. I wish somebody else would get it, just because I want a new voice on JSA.
Yeah.
But at this point, like you just need to put out a JSA book when this is all done. Like,
right? Come on, just do it already, please. Yeah.
But we can still have hope, Mike.
Yeah, we'll have hope.
Speaking of hope, Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and/or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter and the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter, also at FortressComicNews.com. Remember, everybody, give us the reviews on the podcast of your choice. Like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube version of the show. And if you want to go the extra mile, it's Patreon at patreon.com/FortressComics. I want to thank everybody so much for listening and watching this week. And we'll see you all here later in the week.